power of the cross of Christ. Galatians 5 verse 11. But as for me, my brothers and sisters, if I continue to preach that circumcision is necessary, why am I still being persecuted? If that were true, then my preaching about the cross of Christ would cause no trouble. I wish that the people who are upsetting you would go all the way. Let them go on and castrate themselves. Power of the cross of Jesus Christ. Today, we'll highlight like two critical powers of the cross. Paul is saying, if that were true, then my preaching about the cross of Christ would cause no trouble. So, preaching about the cross of Christ brings troubles. Jesus himself, he said, and we read that word yesterday, and this is what is making many believers get tired with God, or in one way or the other stop believing, because they want a soft, straightforward life. But Jesus said, you who have been walking with me, when I am glorified, you will receive 100-fold and a throne together with the suffering. Jesus himself comes and he says in Matthew 5 verse 11, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. And Paul have said, when I preach circumcision, then he says, persecutions because of the cross would end. He would experience no trouble. So as long as you are functioning with the cross of Jesus Christ, the cross of Jesus Christ attracts troubles. And it is through those troubles, Matthew 5, 11 and 12, you qualify to attain the heavenly reward of God. That is why I highlighted yesterday, Romans 8 verse 17. That if indeed we share in his sufferings, we will as well share in his glory. And the sufferings of Christ are actually experienced by one who is through the cross. So if you would get out of the cross, the sufferings stops. That's why you notice when you start getting deep in God, sufferings increases. When you stop pursuing the depth of God, things seem to sublime, things seem to develop a certain form of comfortability. Can you consider something here? That is the reason why the devil, he wants us to pursue comfort, to pursue. We are not saying that being in Christ means suffering throughout, but in Luke 20, is that 22 or 24? If you look at Luke 22, Jesus tells them in verse what? Jesus told them, verse 24, 26 of Luke, did not the Christ have to suffer these things and then enter his glory. And how did Jesus suffer? Through the cross. So the moment you start operating with the cross, sufferings come in your life. But those sufferings are because of the cross. So they've been attracted by the cross, because the cross means suffering for God. But those sufferings are the one that ushers you into glory. Those sufferings are the one that ushers you into heavenly reward. And that is what the Satan wants you not to go through. Satan does not want you to go through sufferings, because he knows the end of suffering is glory and heavenly reward. But comfort in Christ equals no glory and no heavenly reward. So the devil is mad, and he gives us comfort as a decoy. That's the reason why whenever you want to ascend, or you want to experience or to know God, or you want to pursue God in a certain specifics, all of a sudden all the sources of income will cross down. All of a sudden job, you lose your job. All of a sudden everything become chaotic. Me, I remember that happened to me. One day I told God I want to operate with a dimension of a king. 2018, and it was a direct voice I heard: you are a king of the gospel. And then a prophet in my church, I was in Heaven Gate, called me, and she told me what God told you in the night is what God has ordained you for. And she told me, God told you in the night you are a king of gospel. Let me tell you, so God spoke to me with a voice. Then he sent his prophetess, who was a member of my church, to tell me what I had at the Heaven's Gate. She is somewhere in Utawara. Me, I was in Heaven's Gate. How did she know the voice of God that came to me? And I heard that voice clearly. King, a king. Immediately after that, I came back. My ministry broke loose. War after war. Scandals, battles, serious fights, and most of them, they were overwhelming me. But because you have desired a heavenly reward that is more deeper, you have desired to walk in the glory of God. I remember that time I was telling God, I want to walk as right. That if I can switch off the bulb, I want me to emit right, physical right. That's what I told God, because Elijah was carried by chariots of fire. Jesus Christ was walking on water. Philip was carried. So me, I was looking for Moses' face was shining. Stephen's face was like the face of an angel. So I was looking for something. I want to experience that level. I didn't know if you provoke a certain deeper level, it comes with a cost called suffering for that. And that's why you look, if you look like in the book of Acts chapter number 4 and verse 23, on the release, Peter and John went back and they praised their voices on that. There is somewhere the book of is it this Acts? Yes, the Acts chapter number 5 and verse 41. The apostles left the Sanhedrin rejoicing because they had been counted worthy of suffering disgrace for the name. Can you bring yourself to that? Acts 5 verse 41. The apostles left the Sanhedrin rejoicing because they had been counted worthy of suffering disgrace for the name, because it was for a greater grace. So Paul is saying, if as long as I am preaching the Christ, the cross of Christ, then persecutions will keep on coming, because the sufferings for Christ will qualify you for a heavenly reward and co-sharing glory with Christ. The way Christ is glorious, you participate in that glory, you share in that glory, you display that glory and splendor. But he is saying that is only through suffering, and the suffering is when you are through the cross. The cross of Jesus Christ brings